Democrats in the Illinois Senate approve a $53.1 billion budget late Sunday night. The budget is expected to be approved by the state house tomorrow. The fiscal year 2025 spending plan spends $700 million more than what Governor J.B. Pritzker proposed in his February budget address. Despite controlling the governor's mansion in both chambers of the legislature, Democrats had a rocky time coming to an agreement. In a rare move, a few Democrats publicly aired their disappointment with their party's budget priorities before ultimately voting for it, while a pair of Democrats voted no. The budget, which is set to take effect on July 1st, would increase spending by 5% from last year's enacted budget by just 1.6% when factoring in supplemental spending for the current year. It also reduced spending in several areas from Pritzker's February budget proposal by a total of about $73 million. The spending plan directs a $350 million increase for K-12 education and full funding for year 2 of Pritzker's Smart Start plan aimed at adding 5,000 preschool seats across the state. The plan would send $198 million to the state's rainy day fund and make the full pension payment required by law. The budget also includes a child tax credit for qualifying children under the age of 12, providing parents a credit of 20% of the state's earned income tax credit in the calendar year of 2024 and 40% in 2025. It includes the $182 million Pritzker committed months ago to provide shelter, health care, and other services for recently arrived migrants, many of whom have been bused to the state from Texas.